Let's talk about cats now, shall we? We love, don't we, our feline friends? They're cute, they're cuddly, and they are fiercely independent. But what are they doing when we're not there? Are they natural-born killers, harming the local wildlife, perhaps? We've all had a cat that has brought us a present in the form of a mouse or a dead bird. Well, an organisation that looks into the welfare of birds claims that cats hunt up to 27 million birds a year. 27 million! But should cat owners put a stop to this? Should we keep our cats indoors to protect wildlife? Well, to debate this, I'm delighted to welcome Grant Sizemore, Director of the Invasive Species Programme at the American Bird Conservancy, Lucy Doyle, feline behaviourist, and Dr. Ian McGill, vet and director of the Prion Group. Great to have all of you with me. If I could start with you, Grant Sizemore. Should cats be kept indoors to save birds?
Yes, definitely they should. From a wildlife conservation perspective, it's absolutely clear-cut. Cats are an introduced predator in the environment, and they kill hundreds of millions to billions of birds and other wildlife in the countries where these types of studies have been conducted. And so in order to protect wildlife, as well as provide for the health and welfare of cats, other domestic animals, and people, it's really safer and a responsible choice to keep cats not just necessarily indoors, but on a lead or under an owner's direct supervision.
What is the level of destruction cats are capable of outside of the house?
So I'm more of an expert on cat ecology in the United States. So I'll provide some figures from that region of the world. In North America, cats are the top source of direct human-caused bird mortality. And in the United States alone, they're estimated to kill about 2.4 billion birds every year. So the level of predation by cats in the environment is truly tremendous. And you know, they are one among many threats to birds, but they are the largest direct human-caused threat. And we see in birds that their populations are declining tremendously. I mean, we've lost about 3 billion birds in the last 50 years in North America alone.
That's a remarkable set of figures. Let's bring my other guests in on the conversation. Lucy Doyle, you are a feline behaviourist. What would be the impact on the physical and mental health of cats if they were kept indoors 24/7?
There would definitely be an impact in terms of their mental health and their physical well-being too, because cats, like you said at the beginning, they are independent. They do have that nature where they have that wild side to them where they go out and they do have the opportunity for physical exercise and to engage in those natural behaviours, such as establishing and maintaining a territory and social interaction and all that stuff that happens away from their homes. So to suddenly close that off to them and not give them the opportunity to do that is going to mean that their well-being suffers, and it's going to be on the owners to increase the effort they have to put in to try to meet their welfare needs at home in such a restricted and limited environment.
Yes, I mean, do cats need to go outside if they never have been? Does it help if they were kept indoors as kittens, which of course is very commonplace?
Absolutely, yeah, and there's plenty of cats so I'm in the UK, and there's plenty of cats where they are staying indoors here, but it is more commonplace in other parts of the world as well. So in other places, the majority of cats may stay indoors without any issue. And I'm neither saying cats need to stay in or they need to go out. I fall down the middle where you have to take into account the individual and their needs and what they're used to. So yes, if you get a kitten and they are used to staying in and they do have all their needs met and they don't have that taste of the outside where that frustration is there, that they can't do that any longer, then they're going to adapt much more readily, and it's not going to be so much of a problem than just suddenly shutting off the outside world.
Dr. Ian McGill, vet and director of the Prion Group. How important is it to cats to get outside?
Well, in cats that are kept inside, as Lucy would I'm sure be able to tell us, they suffer an awful lot more stress. So the problems we see in cats that are kept indoors are things like obesity and diabetes, osteoarthritis, a lot of, you'll get toileting problems. They'll be urinating and defecating in the house. There are male cats in particular who are overweight. They tend to have a far higher prevalence of urinary blockage, which is an incredibly painful and expensive and stressful occurrence for the owner as well as the cat. So cats that go outside tend to be a lot more balanced behaviorally in terms of their, disease status. I can see both sides of this debate. But let's not forget that the biggest threat to wildlife is humans through loss of habitat, through pollution, through industrial farming. So taking it all out on the cats is a little bit unfair. I know that's what we're discussing here, but one of the biggest threats to wildlife in the UK is the use of anticoagulant rodenticides, which kill not only a lot of mammals, but they do kill. Secondarily, you'll get secondary poisoning to red kites, to buzzards, to all sorts of predators. So it's a balance here. You can't. It's not just about the cats, it's about the humans as well. The most important thing, I'd say, for cats, if you want to stop them predating wildlife, is to have a collar which is reflective, which also has a bell on it, and which also has a quick release on it, so that when the cat gets caught in a tree, it doesn't strangle itself with its collar. But
would that help? Would that? Sorry to interrupt you. Would that help Grant's size more if cats had a bell or a reflective collar?
It can help, but it certainly does not eliminate the predatory nature of cats and the impacts that they have on birds and other wildlife. One of the cat collars that has been promoted in recent years is the Birds Be Safe cat collar. There's been some research that has looked at the benefits of that collar on predation by cats on wildlife. And while it can reduce, in particular, cat-caused predation on birds, it has some very significant limitations. This is a visual cue to birds. And so, of course, if you're talking about predation at night, it has no impact. And then, of course, for birds that are in the nest, they are completely vulnerable. They're unable to fly and cannot escape from a cat that is roaming. So while a collar can help minimize some of that predatory impact on birds, it does not eliminate it. And of course, it doesn't remove any of the other threats that cats cause by roaming the landscape either, things like disease transmission, parasites, these sorts of things.
I've had some emails in, Grant. I would say the majority are against the idea of keeping cats inside. Elaine says no to keeping cats indoors. They keep the mice under control. I'm not a cat lover myself, but I like mice even less. And how about this from Anne, who says, I have 5 cats and none of them have killed birds. Mice, yes, but birds, no. It would be cruel to keep them in for 24 hours a day. This should never be considered, especially whilst humans kill birds and animals for fun. I've never believed cats are a threat to wildlife, just a rumour put out as fact by people who do not like cats. Is that your problem, Grant?
No, I actually have a cat who stays indoors all the time, and she's perfectly happy and healthy. I've had many cats over the course of my life. Some of them have been outdoors, but I recognize now that it's a responsible choice, not only for the cat, but also for wildlife and my neighbors, to keep my cat inside. You can certainly keep a cat happy and healthy, stimulated. You have to play with it. You have to be a good owner. You can't just dump it in your apartment and expect it to thrive. You have to play with it. But cats can have fulfilled, long lives in a strictly indoor environment. And if you want to take it outside, there are responsible ways, safe ways you can do that. A catio, for example, a contained cat patio is one of the ways you can do that. I already mentioned a leash. These are ways to give your cat some outdoor time that eliminates the potential harm that cat might cause in the environment to wildlife, to other domestic animals, or to your neighbors. Nobody wants a cat defecating in their back garden.
Briefly, Grant, is it not natural for cats to kill other creatures? I mean, that's sort of the law of nature, isn't it?
I don't know what we mean here by natural. Certainly, cats are obligate carnivores, so they eat meat. They are instinctive predators. They are designed to be lethal predators. They're very good at it, and it's really amazing. It's one of the things that's so cool about cats. But they are existing in areas where they did not previously exist, all around the world. They're at densities that are incredibly unnatural. A recent study in 2020 found that cats kill 2 to 5 times more prey per hectare than a similarly sized wild feline. And they exist at densities twice the level of those wild predators. So they end up having impacts of 4 to 10 times greater in the areas that they're roaming. So yes, it's instinctive for these cats to kill other wildlife, but it's not natural in the sense that we humans have distributed these instinctive predators across the landscape.
Dr. McGill, my cat Harry lost half a tongue on some kind of outdoor adventure a couple of years ago. He came back a few weeks ago with a scar above his eyebrow, exactly like Harry Potter. I guess he's Catty Potter. Perhaps if we kept cats indoors, it would be safer for them too.
Well, it's undoubtedly it's a dangerous world out there. We see a lot of injuries from cats that go outside, whether that's road traffic accidents or an altercation with another cat. We see a lot of abscesses, probably the most common thing. But if you give, no one's asked the cats here. If you ask the cats whether they want to stay inside in prison or they want to get out, I'm pretty sure that the cat would say they'd much rather get out. So, it is a trade-off. Cats that go out tend to be healthier. Admittedly, they get these problems to do with accidents or altercations outside, but they don't get a lot of chronic health issues that you see in indoor cats.
It's obviously an important conversation to have. Lucy Doyle, finally, if I can ask you, is there any way that you can train your cat not to kill so many birds?
It's tricky, isn't it? Because once they're out there, they're out of your control. And to be fair, they're out of your control inside too. But their ability to hunt, that is what they were domesticated for. That's what we appreciated right at the beginning. They were keeping our food free of rodents, and we really relished that, and we encouraged them to live with us and took them in, if you like, and gave them shelter for that. And then skip to modern day, we're persecuting them for the exact same behaviour. And it's like you say, it's our man-made problem. We've caused this distribution of cats where there's just too many. It's not the fact that one cat is out there hunting, like on a killing spree, hunting too many. It's the fact that there are too many cats in these, certain areas. So the focus should be on population control at the beginning, so neutering feral cats, so the trap, neuter, return programs, and every owner should get their cat neutered unless there's any medical reason not to try to keep that population level low and try to keep this hunting, this consequence of hunting under control. I think a blanket rule of keeping all cats in is just a welfare issue for certain cats. For some cats, yes, they might be absolutely fine. For others, it's really going to be detrimental to their health and well-being.
My sincere thanks to Grant Sizemore, Director of the Invasive Species Programme at the American Bird Conservancy. Thank you so much, Grant. Lucy Doyle, feline behaviourist, and Dr. Ian McGill, vet and Director of the Prion Group. Thank you so much to all of you for your time. I look forward to catching up again soon. Let's bring my panel on this. Any pussy lovers out there?
Well, Mark,
Josh Howie?
Mark, I got to say, I am worried about the direction this show is taking after COVID, because it used to be this. The big question would have been back in the day: lockdowns. Should human beings allowed outside? Now it's should cats be allowed? A couple of months it's going to be should gerbils be allowed out of their cages? It's a worrying TV trend here.
It really is. Do you own a cat?
No, and after that interview, I will never own any cats again.
Listen, you've got 5 kids. You don't need pets.
No, absolutely.
You've got 5
Much
human
as they
pets.
beg me, they will never ever get a pet.
Do they hunt birds as well? Do they hunt ones?
Absolutely. They bring back mice. They bring back anything.
Benedict Spence, what do you think about the idea of keeping pussy under lock and key?
Why have you done that? Look, I'm a big advocate of freedom. I think that if we are breeding as many cats as we are for our own sort of pleasure, our own sort of entertainment, I do think it's important to let them outside. I mean, perhaps there should be minimum pricing on cats so that there aren't so many, so that they become more of a sort of a luxury item. I don't know. I did like your suggestion, though, that maybe there might be some sort of way of training a cat to become slightly less predatory. I mean, perhaps a cat therapist or something, sitting on a couch. saying, oh, maybe I think possibly I hunt birds because my father was distant. I don't know, but, doctor, can you help me out? Is there some sort of CBT that I can do to get around this? I mean, there might be something in that. I don't know. But personally, from all the cats I've ever had, granted, we were sort of living in the countryside, but they've tended to get out no matter what you did. They would find a way outside if they wanted to, or if they didn't want to go outside, you could try to put them outside and they wouldn't go. I don't really think people actually have a great deal of say over what kind of a cat is.
Hilary Freeman, you're a journalist, but you're an agony aunt too. Could you be a cat shrink?
Could I be a cat shrink? No one's ever asked me that before. Well, as I said, I prefer to wear my cats than train them or analyse them. I'm not sure that you could give therapy to a cat. They are so independent. They do what they like. We don't own cats. They own humans. So I don't think it would be possible. No.
Very wise and judicious words as always. What do you think? Do you own a cat? Would you keep it in 24/7 to save wildlife? Let me know, Mark at gbnews.uk.